There's a quiet power living in Alberta right now. You have it, so do I. It's the power of where you save your money. Keeping your money at ATB means we can create loans for the people, places, and businesses that make Alberta, Alberta. Talk to ATB about the Amplified GIC for business with a rising rate and flexible cashability. Get your money working for you. And Alberta, too. ATB listens.
Blog Talk Radio.
Well, hello, Divas, and welcome back to the Divas That Care Network. My name is Candace Gish, and I'm the host of the show. Well, thank you, each and every one of you that has tuned in today. I am very excited. For any of you that have just tuned in for the very first time, thank you so much. We are a weekly show. What we do is that we have a group of amazing women that are working together to make the world a better place. So our hashtag out there is Divas That Care. So make sure that you check in and you tune into some of our amazing hosts. We now have 10 programs on the Divas That Care Network. So thank you so much. Well, ladies, I am excited. I am bringing back an amazing diva that has been on our show in the past. She's a good friend of mine, and I'm just always excited when she comes on because she always has something amazing to share with each and every one of you. And I know today is going to be just the same. So Kristine and Gravel, welcome back to the show. I'm so excited to have you.
Thanks, Candace. Really happy to be chatting with you again. And hello, listeners.
Oh, my goodness. Well, we're so excited to have you. You've shared so many amazing things with us in the past. And I just want to remind our ladies that are tuning in, Kristine does have some shows, and all of our shows are recorded, so you can definitely check out those past shows with Kristine. So, Kristine, for any of our new listeners that are just tuning in today, could you spend a couple of minutes and share a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. So I am a spiritual guide. I'm one of these people who you can have these personal growth conversations with. My areas of specialty focus on career changes, but also on life transitions, namely parenthood, being a mom, also to being in the position of transitioning. So having that, being in the middle of being a parent with young children and then with aging parents as well. So those are my areas of specialty. My other area of specialty is called scientific hand analysis, and it's basically a non-predictive approach to looking at the data in your hands, namely the fingerprints and also the lines in your hands, to help you get some sense of why are you here, how should you focus your energy, what gifts and talents you have, and also is your life path lined up with how you are thinking.
I love that. And, you know, you did some hand analysis on myself on one of our shows, and I thought this was the craziest thing ever. And I really loved it because it really dove into who I was as a person. I want to say this because one thing that you did mention in our last show is that you said this can change. So can you talk to our listeners a little bit about that?
Yes, well, the thing is that we're born with fingerprints, so that's technically a static thing. Those are created before you're born, and you come out and you've got these fingerprints. The lines in your hands, though, we do come out with an initial set of lines, but these lines actually change as we are exposed to different things, as we learn. Some lines do come in, though, not as a result of life experiences, but as a result of choices that we have yet to make or that we're not making, and these identify gifts. So we can actually zero in on specific areas of your hand where these strategic lines are placed and say, ooh, you've got an opportunity here to connect in more with your inner wisdom. You've got an opportunity here to step into leadership, an opportunity to zero in on giving yourself credit for the things that you do in the world and making sure that you get paid for it. I've got a blend of a very scientific sort of analytical approach to things, but I also have that intuitive side of me as well. So anything that I do in terms of personal growth and stuff, it has to have a very logical thread to it. Otherwise, it's too ungrounded and unfocused. And that's why I gravitated towards something very, I guess, scientific in a sense, that this system of analysis has over I don't know, 50,000 pairs of handprints where the data has been reanalyzed and looked at. So it's not a predictive thing in any way. Things are there for a reason. And so, yeah, it's just very neat that these lines in your hands tie in with how you're living your life. And are they jiving with your fingerprints?
I like that. And I love that. And I know that you and I are going to do another show in the future with going over my fingerprints again, because I thought, okay, wouldn't it be great to show a before and a now? You have been with us for a long time with the Divas That Care Network, and you've seen our growth and our change. And it'd be quite interesting to see if my hands have shown that transition.
Yeah, and the neat thing is if we look at our hands, some lines are very light, other hands are very deep. And the deep ones are really, those things in our psyche and our personality that we're very much committed to, the stuff that takes a long time to change or a lot of focus to change, right? Like our communication style, the way we think, how we live our lives. We are very entrenched in a lot of these things, and it does take work to change them.
Oh, I love it. And you've got some other things that you're doing now too. You've gone through some transitions in your life in the last year or so, and I'm curious to ask you: Have you been able to get this done in your hands? Do you do it yourself, or do you have somebody look at your hands and kind of see how yours have evolved also?
Well, it's interesting that you say that, right? Because teachers always need a teacher, and we also consult with other experts beyond ourselves because we're not sort of the be-all and the end-all. So, yeah, I have had my hands analyzed by both of my teachers and also the person who created this system of hand analysis. I wanted to get independent takes from those people on what they saw in my hands, and they generally confirmed what I already knew, but I wanted to have it coming from a different source independently to confirm, this is a good test for me too of this system, right? Is everybody talking the same language? And they are. They say things in different ways. However, they're confirming stuff and they're re-emphasizing things that I know I should be doing and just to help me get back on track with it.
And what I love is that this is different from a lot of things that we hear about, a lot of people that are doing in the communities. There's so many amazing modalities, but what I found was quite interesting with yours is because it is a lot of scientific stuff too. And I thought, what a great tool to use with some of the other things that are going out there. If you've got somebody like yourself and then you have a different modality, I'm like, you can kind of put them together to help with the individual's well-being in a lot of ways, correct?
I agree. It's a very, if you couple it or pair it with other modalities, other ways of personal growth or taking a look at where you're going and choices, it's really nice to pair it with other things because one thing supports the other, but also too sometimes those messages are very similar and it's neat when things come together and the same thing gets repeated but comes from different sources.
And I think that's what people are looking for nowadays. They're looking for that validation to know that when they're going to see somebody, the next person they see, or they can pair it off and it's the same answer that they're getting. And they're like, oh, okay. Because that's what we like. We like that validation that what we're saying is correct or what we're hearing is correct from somebody, in a lot of ways completely different approach to that problem or that issue that we're wanting to work with, correct?
Exactly. And the interesting thing is if you're paying attention, well, a lot of things travel in threes. We'll usually get, if we're not paying attention, we'll get at least three different of the same thing, so three different sources of something coming in. You'd probably be good to do that. And then it comes from a different angle, and then it comes from a different angle. And so if you're listening, if you get that answer in three different ways, that's a really good surefire sign to say, shoot, I should be paying attention to that.
Oh, my goodness. Isn't that the truth? Oh, wow. Okay, well, I'm going to ask you, Kristine, I know because you live out in Ontario, and we do have listeners all around the world now, can you work with people over the phone, over Skype, over Zoom, or do you have to have them directly in your office?
I am completely remote. I am set up to be able to talk with people anywhere that they live. That's the brilliant thing about digital technology, is that we can set up and use our tools, our digital tools, to connect with each other from anywhere in the world. I tend to use Zoom because I like to record our conversations and send that off to people so that they have a record to listen to it going forward in the future.
I love that. And I actually use that tool a lot, too, within my business parameters. And you know what? One of the things that probably people are asking, well, how is she going to be able to do that? You know, do I stick my hand up at the camera? So let's explain the steps of somebody that is not with you in Ontario and how the process that you do with them in order to help them out, and how can you hand clearly. Like, I think we need to show the purpose of this, or show how you do this.
Absolutely. So there's two ways we can do it. I do something called a discovery conversation, where we have about a 20-minute chat or so about something that's pertinent to you. So I usually ask the people somebody who's interested in chatting with me, just to get a sense of how this fits for them. Photograph your hands. Just do it in a way that I can actually see the lines, and then I will zero in on something that stands out in their hands. When we do something more formal, so someone goes onto my website and actually decides that they're wanting to move forward with a full analysis, they will go in and they will register through my website formally, and that cues me to send them a kit where they would do prints of their hands. The nice thing about the kit is that it shows off all of those fine lines that we might not be able to see in, say, a photo or even in person, because I do in-person analysis. But I like doing the prints because I like to see all those little lines, because some of them are really important, and it can change the way we talk about what we're talking about you. It can actually influence that.
I love that. And when I got it done, I thought it was one of the most interesting things that I had, because you were able to really say things about that you said about me that not a lot of people knew about me. And I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. So I really like that aspect of it.
That information shows up in your hands. I mean, we can. It's really a very intimate way of being seen. When I get someone's prints, when I look at their hands, it's really a very sacred experience, and I don't take that opportunity lightly. It's really important to have some of those conversations, because some of those lines, like you said, they're very revealing. And it shows up in your hands. So it's really important to honor that, you know what, we're seeing you in a very private way, and also that client practitioner confidentiality is hugely important.
Yes, definitely. And I love that. And we're going to be posting information about this on our website. So I want to dive off to something different. What is it that you're doing now, Kristine? I know that you are an accomplished author. You know, you do your hand analysis. What are you doing now?
It's interesting that you ask that, because I've been doing a deep dive over, I'd say, the last 12 to 6 months of sitting back and reflecting on the meaning of life. Believe it or not, that's kind of where that's what's in my hands, but going deeper than that into some of the more dense and heavier feelings, because that's what my design is. I'm actually very gifted and skilled at taking people to the box of Kleenex and getting in there. So I've been thinking about, because I've had parents die around me, but also relatives, what are the rites of passage in our lives, and how does that influence the choices and decisions that we make? What's on our bucket list? You know, those are pretty heavy duty things. You know, and also too, radical change. When we commit, so say we arrive at the place of where we've had enough, how does that change our life in an instant? Because we commit to it on a very infinite or finite level, like at the cellular level. So, I mean, this stuff is a bit deep. It's pretty heavy. The one that I love to think about right now is we're all going through phases in our lives. And I call these rites of passage, right? When someone enters into motherhood, fatherhood, they've got aging parents or they are an aging person, and they move to these transition points in their lives. And how does that influence the choices that they make? Yeah, so that's my big one right now.
And it's huge, because isn't that the truth? We're all getting older, and there's a lot of things that are taking place. We've got, even with our children leaving the home, that's a huge thing for a lot of families. Trying to figure out who they are now, what their new hat that they're putting on. They're not just the mother. They're all these different things. And do you find that a lot of people are having it's that struggle going through that part of that transition too?
Yeah, I mean, one of mine right now is transitioning into perimenopause and aging. Wow. And I'm just like, oh, shoot, I'm entering into menopause. That's a big shift. And I'm looking around me and I'm going, man, my sisters, those learned women, I'm not seeing a lot of them right now because I actually haven't looked around me to find out who those women are to help guide me through that phase of my life and be the reality check. I think it's all very important as we transition through life and different big things that we have people who we can talk to as a sanity check.
So I'm going to ask you, Kristine, is there a lot of groups out there? Is that do you think that's a need out there to have more of a, because I know that you do a lot of mentoring for women, but do you think that there should be like an online, community support group for women that are going through different transitions in their lives and how, maybe we can work on one to get together?
Absolutely. There are networks out there. I think it's just a matter of cluing in. Shoot, I think I need some support. And then start doing some digging and also finding out who's already set up out there and join the groups. There's so much social media opportunity for people to connect in through groups. And also at the same time, take a look in our community using the web. Right? Using Google or whatever browser you want to use the web to reach out and start connecting with people. The nice thing about our digital technology is it bridges the gap. We don't even need to live in the same city, but we can be going through the same type of experience.
Yeah, and I really like that. And I like the pros and the cons of that. I love that you're able to find the people that you need to in different locations. And it's hard at the same time because I think as women, too, we need to have that interaction, that togetherness, in the same room sometimes because, we all do. We live in the age of social media and we're always online. And do you find, I'm going to kind of dive into a different thing, but do you find that maybe we do need to find that more of that connection so that we're not just face-to-face on a Zoom, but maybe we're face-to-face that, you could hold somebody's hand when they need it or something like that?
You and I are on the same wavelength because that's actually something that I stumbled into earlier this year, so earlier in 2018, that I basically did a meditation, and what I got out of it was that business, this was focused on business, but it's being done a different way now. And there's a shift happening. We're in the midst of it. But the guidance I got was that I needed to get offline and actually go and meet people. And like you said, be there, hold their hand, look in their eyes. That is the new way of doing business. I have no idea what this is going to look like as it ripples through the consciousness stream. However, that's the guidance I'm getting is that it's, relationships, but not just the digital stuff. It's actually the face-to-face stuff that's key. The neat thing is digital is kind of like your dance card where you've got, connections and stuff like that, but then it's moving to that place where we actually get together. And it's one-on-one connections, looking in someone's eyes, being there, being present for them. The digital is a great way to set up the meeting. Then we move to the next phase, which is we meet. So I've actually been guided to go and visit people, and they don't even live in my city. Sometimes I'll get guidance. I got to go visit somebody who lives somewhere else.
Isn't that amazing? And it's kind of a neat thing that we're talking about today, because I do a lot of my stuff because I live in a rural area, and I don't have access to a lot of individuals. So I've always built my business online. Where we do the shows remotely. But this weekend, I had the great opportunity to go to a very intimate event where I was able to speak. It was that, excuse me, and it was such a great thing to be in the same room as these dynamic women, to hold their hand, like you're saying, to make that eye contact, to be with that energy. And that energy was something that I hadn't experienced in a really long time. And it was so wonderful because I had that, it was like I got a burst of energy just being in a room with other women that had purpose, and they were building relationships and business and everything else. And I understand that. I understand what you're saying, because there's nothing like that. I think that we definitely need to do that.
Yeah, it really feeds nurtures our souls, our spirit, emotionally as well, on a really, really deep level. And I mean, you described it, right? You felt energized. Connecting with people who are like-minded, it's like a breath of fresh air. We don't have to try and be different. We are who we are, and we're in a gang, in with a group of people that accepts that and they get it.
Yeah, that's a big thing, isn't it? Is that they understand.
Yep.
Oh, wow. This is great,
yep.
Kristine. Okay, so is there anything that you'd love to share with our listeners today? As I said, you have so much going on. It's just such a dynamic woman, and we're always so excited when you come on our show. But is there stuff that you'd love to share with us today?
I think the thing I want to leave listeners with is, if you're getting a sense that you're in a funk, do your best to identify exactly where you need some support, and start reaching out. It's so easy when we're in our pit. And when I say reach out, mention to other people that you're looking for something, whatever that might be, and use those people as eyes and ears to potentially suggest you where they've seen or been exposed to what you're looking for. So they actually are researchers with you. You don't have to do it alone. Just start reaching out and letting people know. Even if it's something simple, I'm not feeling the best. Do you know anybody that I can talk to? People know people. Let's use our resources and our networks wisely. When we're in our pit, it's really hard to get out, but often just that one conversation can flip something 180 degrees.
Oh my goodness, I love the advice. Listeners, make sure that you check out Kristine's book, The Ruby Red Shoes. It's an amazing book that you're going to love. And her website is purposemastery.com. So I want you guys to make sure that you check Kristine out and check out all of her recorded calls, because they are absolutely fantastic with all the information that she has. Oh my goodness, Kristine, thank you so much for being my guest today. It is always a pleasure to have you. I really love the things that you were talking about today, and they really resonate with me, because it's something that I've been experiencing the last little while myself. So I think that today was a perfect show for both of us.
I agree. I'm so pleased to have the opportunity to connect with you, Candace. Dynamite, as always.
Thank you so much. And thank you to all of our listeners. As I was saying, check out Kristine's website. Check out her amazing book that she's got. And, take this call. All of our calls are recorded. We want you to take these calls and send them to your friends and family. This is an amazing show. And Kristine is an amazing woman, so I definitely want you to get connected with her. Thank you again to Kristine, and thank you to all of our guests. We love you guys for, tuning in, because it's because of you amazing divas out there that we continue to do this show. And we hope that you pay it forward in some little way. Thank you so much, and we will talk to you all soon. Bye-bye, everybody.
There's a quiet power living in Alberta right now. You have it, so do I. It's the power of where you save your money. Keeping your money at ATB means we can create loans for the people, places, and businesses that make Alberta, Alberta. Talk to ATB about the Amplified GIC for business with a rising rate and flexible cashability. Get your money working for you. and Alberta too. ATB listens.